I did my hair. So this is just for me and to try to keep as much detail as I can. I only have 20 minutes, so let's keep this as brief as possible. And I'm just gonna talk about the day, not anything else. Because yes. Friday, July 28th, I woke up because I had to go to work. I work mornings. My mornings are late. They're like 7 a.m. So I don't get up till 6. And usually we share smoke. Mark and I share smoke. Or sometimes I just accompany him. I don't smoke anymore. Like, I don't smoke anymore. I don't smoke much anymore. That's what I meant to say. There's a lot of things going on, so I was gonna have a long day, and Mark knew that. So we practiced our speeches the night before about what I was gonna say on my meetings, on my interview, and stuff like that. And then vice versa. When he goes on interviews, I'm the one who's grilling him, so he's prepared either way. Because we want to make sure that we're both the absolute best that we can, and we want to prepare each other, and we want to see each other thrive. Because if he shines, I thrive. I shine, vice versa. So I wake up, he's sleeping on the couch. He did sleep with me, but then he slept on the couch because after he smokes, I tell him to Febreze himself to take a shower because he smells like cigarette. And he has a tendency to go out to smoke 3 times a night. Sometimes it's different. So, the last time he did wake up, he woke up around 4 to go smoke, which is not abnormal. His alarm rings at 3 because he works at that early. So he was there for 2 hours, and I wake him up, took a shower, got ready, and I was like, "Hey, baby, I gotta go." And he's sleeping on the couch, and I'm just like, "Hey, I have to go. I love you," and I did say that. I was like, "I love you." Then he says, "Remember what we talked about? Be strong, be a bitch. I know you can. Don't let them step on you." And I was like, "Well, I love you. I'll see you when I get home." And then he says, He just go, I was like, "Say it back," because it's kind of like a joke. And then he's like, "I love you." And I left. And that was after the cigarette that we had. And then he cuddled kind of like in the couch and whatever. My day goes on. I have my meetings. I'm successful. I have my interview, which I was successful. And I come back. Um, that was Friday and Saturday where Mark stays off because he was the main guy on the farmer's market. As in, like, he's the only one that could get Saturdays off. Um, so I get home and he's asleep. He looks to me to be passed out in the living room, which is not like something to be alarmed about. Um, but I wake up and I'm like, "Hey, buddy, I'm here." Not buddy, bunny. I'm like, "Hey, bunny, I'm here," because he calls me Honey Bunny and I call him Bunny. And he seemed to be sleeping. So I got mad. And I was like, "Oh, God damn it. The base is broken. The base by the bed, by the couch. It's not broken, but it was on the floor." And I was like, "God damn it, he fucking kicked it off." Not unlikely. He's so tall, he doesn't fit in the couch. Sometimes when he stretches, when he's sleeping, he just drops things. And I was mad. I was like, I have all these news, what time I was going to get home. And I try to wake him up. And I'm like, wake up, wake up. He doesn't wake up. I'm like, fuck it. It's too hot. It's too hot. I'm going to go to our fridge, which is what we call our bedroom because it's the only thing with the AC. Even though the whole house has a swamp cooler, but whatever. So I got to the bedroom and I'm like, well, that's weird. There's no beer cans. And there's no whiskey. And I know that we ran out yesterday. I don't drink nearly as much anymore. I don't. But I will have a shot with him occasionally. And I limit it because I'm trying to, I was trying to get sober and stuff like that. And the maximum I'll have is honest, maybe 2 beers, which is nothing compared to what I used to do, but that's not about me, it's about him. So I'm like, wait a goddamn fucking minute. There's a cigarette outside, but I can't control how many cigarettes he smokes, so I don't know how many he leaves. But that seemed normal to me when I walked in, because he only smokes outside. And then I see that there's no beers open, though. And there is no brand new whiskey bottle. And I know we didn't have any. And it's 5 p.m. 4:40 or something. I was like, oh shit, that's not normal. So I got out of my cocoon, out of the fridge, get back to the thing, and he's just like this. But he's still like this. Like, I don't know how he is. But his head is like this. Which is what I think caused the flower pot to fall. And then I start to get scared because I'm like, that's uncharacteristic of him. I know he was fine when I left him. Unless I cancel his cards, he probably would still pay with the bucket of coins that we have. Like, I know he would at least gotten beer. Like, there's times where he's like, well, you told me not to get whiskey because we can't afford it or whatever. And I'm like, but you can still afford beer, or you can still afford whiskey, or smokes or whatever. And I was like, that's weird. So then I came out. And he was like this, so I stood him up. And then I saw that his face was droopy, like this. His left side, sorry. So I automatically got scared. I checked his throat to see if there was any blockage. There wasn't. I was gonna call 911, but I was afraid that maybe he was just passed out because he drank too much or whatever. So I called my neighbor. My neighbor came. She's like, this is not okay. If you don't dial, I will, kind of thing. So then I dialed. As I was dialing, I noticed that he had pissed himself. And I know that, like, usually drunk people do that, but with what I had at the time of, like, I don't want to say knowledge, but like what I have seen, that there was no liquor, there was no alcohol, there was no nothing. It was enough for me, like, oh shit, he pissed himself. He probably had a stroke. So I called them. They're walking me through it. They're like, put him down. And I was like, I fucking can't lift him. I understand he's lighter than me because I'm fat, but he's so much taller than me. And he's I don't know, I don't know. For some fucking goddamn reason, I got him. I was able to get him up because I was like to someone on the phone, and the lady's like, can you do CPR? And I was like, I know how, but I can't get him down to the couch. And I'm trying and struggling, and I was like, what if I just do CPR on the couch? And she's like, you need to get him on the floor, hold his head, hold his neck, and pull him down. It doesn't matter if you break his legs or whatever, or his hip. Just try to get him down. And I was like, fuck it. And so I started doing compressions. She started telling me to count with her. And I did. And then the ambulance was so fast, thank God. And I was doing CPR, like what I told my parents. I don't know if I was doing a good job, or maybe the guy that came in first was a rookie, but he's like, keep going. But he was like trying to do the defibrillator pin things. So I was going to stop doing it, and he's like, no, keep going. And I was like, yes, yes. And for my job, I have to learn how to do, I have to know how to do this shit. So like I am capable of doing it just fine. So maybe it was, I don't know. So I'm doing it. They start pinning things down. One of them broke the door, not the door, but like the mosquitero, like the fly thingy, like the mesh thing. They broke it. I didn't care. I moved the couch. They moved everything. They dropped everything. I didn't care. And they're like, we need to take him in. And I was like, I think he peed himself. I think he peed himself. And they're like, that's okay. It's okay. It's okay. And then they got him into the ambulance. It took a long time for them to drive, so I was concerned because I was like, why stick it so long? I don't know what was going inside. I haven't gotten the medical report yet. But I know that usually not a lot of people fit in there. And I counted 7 people up there. Because I was waiting outside in the car, waiting to follow them. With my neighbor. Then I got yelled at for running red lights like the ambulance does. Because I didn't care. I honestly wanted... I was concerned. So we get to the ER, and I got yelled at for following again, whatever. So when we get off the thingy, I thought the EMT knew my neighbor because he grabbed her by like this, like a chaperone, and was like, it's not looking good. And then she told me that, and I was like, well, we don't know yet. Naively. Naively, because I knew the signs of... I thought it was a stroke. Which I don't know if a stroke is a blood thing, but at that point, whatever. We got in, signed on the papers. Actually, we only signed one for treatment, and one that I was a wife, and I was the only one that could make medical decisions. Because they're like, are you the wife legally? Yes. Okay. Oh, and something that was funny, that they always talked to my neighbor before, because my husband's a little bit older than me, like 20 years. So maybe they thought I was the daughter and she was a husband, the wife, but no, he's mine. So we went in, we were in the waiting room, they kept coming in, they kept asking for the story over and over again. We kept going through the story over and over and over and over again. I don't know if they thought maybe I was lying, I don't know. They did do a drug test, they did do an alcohol test, they did everything, because when they came in there were beer bottles. But I was like, those are not from today. And like I told my brother, I was like, the reason why is because I fold them. Like I do a little, like twist the cap to know which ones are mine. And they're like, we counted 4. And it's like, right, but 4 would cause that? Like, and they were all mine? Like, no. And they weren't from like the same day either. Which is exactly why I do that, because I don't know. There's some, they used to be there for days and weeks until they start going like weird. But anyways, we eventually got the word that he got incubated or intubated or whatever when they put the tubie because he couldn't breathe. When I got home, I heard him go like, so I thought he was being an asshole. I really did. I thought he was being a dick. I thought how rude of him. We've been planning for this talk forever. We've both been rehearsing our speeches and kind of thing like that. And he's going like, and then he would go like, and zombie noises, really. And I thought he was just joking. I really did. I really did. And if it wasn't for the missing alcohol, I would have been like, he probably would have died in that couch. Because I did leave. I went to the bedroom and I was like, oh, he's just drunk, he's just passed out, he just needs to rest. But I thought he was just joking. I thought he was just like 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 that kind of noises sound like fuckery, really. And he was a trickster, so it wasn't like unlike him to trick me. So we got there, stories over and over again. They gave us waters and Coca-Cola only because my neighbor requested it because she's addicted to Coca-Cola. And then after he was too thin, they were trying to warn me, hey, I don't know if you've ever seen anybody intubated like this. And I was like, I have. I'm okay. I want to see him. Please. And at that point, the energy shifted. Because at that point, because they were taking so long to tell us it's a heart attack, it's a stroke, or he's fine, or he's conscious. It all went downhill since we got into there. It was like, he's unconscious. He can't breathe. He's not responsive. When the EMTs got there, they were also did the whole nipple and like hurting the chest to try to see if maybe he was just like on drugs or like an overdose or whatever. Like usually if you inflict pain, it sends a signal to the whatever. I don't remember what the technical term is called, but that's how we're taught to deal with it at work. So I did everything right. So then they're like trying to be like, hey, listen, I'm wearing chef coat because, god damn it, I fucking just got home. Like I didn't even take off my name tag. And I was like, yeah, it's fine. I've seen it before. I know what it looks like. I know what the process was because they wanted to be like maybe trying to buy time or maybe trying to make sure that I understood. Even though I assured them that I did, but they said that was too calm, and I was brave, but which I wasn't. I was just hiding it. But they're like, I just want to make sure they understand. And I was like, I have a medical terminology and physiology. Like, I understand what you're saying to me. Just because I don't want to show it to you doesn't mean that I don't understand exactly what's happening. Like, I understand perfectly if you tell me what's going on. I know what the procedure is. I'm not a doctor. I'm not nowhere near it, and I don't want to be. But if you tell me that you had to do something, I understand. Especially things like ER stuff. Because it's first responder stuff that we're trained to do at work. Like every month we take a test. Fuck. So I saw him and it's fine. And something that was rude was he did pee himself. And they told me, hey, he has a full-on catheter. He's been incubated. He has an IV on his foot. Left foot. He has an IV on his arm. He has an IV here. There was names like drugs, I don't know, propofol, but they said like a whole bunch of different shit. And then this rude ass bitch. Well, I only say that I almost said something there. I did think about it, but I didn't say it because I was so scared. But the nurse that was there, who actually was there till the end, was like, "Oh my gosh, he peed himself again. And the catheter was so full that it started to leak through his penis. I don't know. Let it go. Let it free, babe. And I guess in the CT scan, he also peed everywhere because the catheter was full, the bag was full, because they were emptying it out, and it was like 3 of those little pitcher thingies, 2.5 of those little pitcher thingies, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's so wet. I just don't want him to lay in the wet." And then somebody else came in, and he's like, "He's still peeing?" And in my mind, I'm like, I had my hands. Oh, you. I don't know if I had a bitch face, but it wasn't pretty. And all in my mind, I was just like, I want to see you have a stroke and see if you don't piss your pants. Fuck, I've pissed my pants, but I had a fucking seizure. Like, you can't control your body. Old people fall and pee themselves because they can't control that. Pregnant people do that. When I throw up and I'm not pregnant or old, and I still pee, like, fuck off, you dumb, ignorant bitch. You're in a medical facility and you're dissing the sick? That's another story. Anyhow, so they changed them, and I wanted to help. They didn't let me, which is reasonable because they don't know if I'm weak, or if I'm gonna poison him, or if I have something, because they're close to sterile. Mine is not. I understand, so it's fine. And then after the CT, the guy came in and he told me that it was a massive brain bleed that happens spontaneously because a brain artery ruptured and caused a hemorrhage. And because I know what time he should have waken up or could have waken up to go to the liquor store, or, well, we had beer, he just didn't open it. I asked him what time it would happen because I told him that it had to be pretty early because he didn't even open a beer. And they of course said they have no time in the way, but they said they contacted the surgical team, and they said that they didn't have a reason to even consider it because it was unviable and a complete brain damage. And I guess the doctor taught me that there's 2 different kinds. You can't say legally dead because they have to perform 3 tests. And that's usually for, like, babies and stuff like that, the people that can't. That's what she said, I don't fucking know. But she was able to tell me that there was more blood than brain because when there's a blood hemorrhage, the blood pressures the brain to go down, which is, and then it starts to disintegrate the brain. And so there was nothing left of him. And she went through the options. I told her that I felt that it would be right to have her mother maybe come say goodbye. And she told me, I don't think. First she said, that sounds great. I was like, if you think it's inhumane, then no, because she told me that he like, it wasn't like a pull the plug and he'll be a killer, or if you don't pull the plug, maybe. It was like, the only thing keeping him alive is his heartbeat and this lung. And she said, quite frankly, I think the heartbeat's only beating because after the CPR. She's like, there's nothing there. And I was like, I understand. She's like, we can keep him comfortable, stuff like that. I was like, do you think it's inhumane if we try to wait for her mother to say goodbye? And that's another story. And she's like, no, I don't think so. I think you need time to say goodbye properly. Your parents are already in the way. It's gonna be okay. So then they gave me a time period to say goodbye, and we were in a really good state. We were fine. Like, we weren't arguing. We were fine. We were having fun. We were great. But I knew how he felt. And I knew that he felt guilty and stuff like that about other things that aren't relevant to this, but I just felt the pressure that said, I felt like he wanted me to say that it's okay. Like, I felt like maybe he didn't, because he wasn't like suicidal or anything, but I think maybe he wasn't ready, or maybe he felt guilty for leaving me alone. And I could just feel that he kept saying, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. That's all I heard in my mind. And I didn't hear physical things, I just heard things in my mind. Because I know him, he's my husband. I know what he was thinking, he would tell me. And all I could think to say was, it's okay. It's okay. I love you. And I know you love me. It's okay. I'll meet you. And for some reason, the vacation came up and I was like, I'll take you. I'll take you there. And he would twitch, which obviously is just muscle spasms. I'm not in denial. I already knew he was dead when I got there, but I think he waited for me to say goodbye. He gave me the chance to say goodbye. And after that, the other nurse came in. No, the other doctor, sorry. She talked to the mom. Pretty much gave her the same diagnosis, told her that actually was kind of like, bitch, I understand you're upset, but I need to deal with the wife. She's a priority, you're not. I understand you're the mom. Because when she came in, she was on the phone, and she's like, okay, so who's this? And I was like, who are you talking to? And she's like, so is the mom making decisions? And I was like, no, I'm the wife. She's like, okay, so I don't need to talk to her. And after that, she tried to make sure that maybe I wasn't in denial. Maybe that I understand people grieve differently. I just try to, I suppose, I pretend to try to be, I'm a tough bitch kind of thing. But I'm not. And after she showed me things, she's like, let me check the heartbeat. Because he would flicker, and then he would go like, And she told me, she's like, I already started the paperwork to move him to the ICU. And we know about the DNR, things like that. And I was like, again, I was like, is it inhumane? Should I just? She's like, no, you're fine. He doesn't feel like honey. And I was like, well, he's already plugged in. Let's give me another chance to say goodbye. I don't know, fuck. Let me hold his hand. I did. And I actually got in there and was on the side of the bed with him. And she checked the heart and it started to slow down. And she's like, I don't know how long he's gonna last. You should talk to him. And he died way before he was pronounced dead. The reason why is because the nurses couldn't pronounce him dead. They had to wait for a doctor or something. I don't know. The motherfucker. It was funny because I would like do this and I could feel like maybe this. I know he was dead. I understand. I'm not delusional. But his blood maybe or his muscles, I don't know. But he wasn't pale at that point. And he was. And they told me, just keep talking to him, keep doing whatever you were doing. But they were maybe just making time for the doctor to get there, or maybe they were trying to give me more time, or maybe they were just stupid. Either way, he died in my hands. But you know that enough. He knows that enough.